Welcome to Python course. So in this problem solving with Python guide, I divided all the course into different modules or chapters. So this is part of the chapter one. In this chapter one, we are going to discuss features of Python and how we are going to run the Python. So there are three ways to run the Python program. So I will discuss all those three ways. And the third topic is, so this is about the fundamentals of the Python. We have literals, identifiers, and reserved keywords, and we have other concepts also. We will discuss those in chapter 2. Okay, let's get into the details. So who created Python? So Python was developed by Guido van Rossum at the National Research Institute of Mathematics and Computer Science in Netherlands during 1985 to 1990. Python is derived from many other languages, including ABC, Modular 3, C, C++, Algol 68, Smalltalk, Unix Shell, and other scripting languages. Rossum was inspired by Monty Python's Flying Circus, a BBC comedy series, and he wanted the name of this new language to be short, unique, and mysterious. Hence, he named it Python. It is a general purpose interpreted, interactive, object oriented, and high level programming language. Python source code is available under GNU, that nothing but General Public License, and it is now maintained by a core development team at the National Research Institute. If you want to learn more about what is Python and what are the uh, buzz that is happening right now in Python and what is the latest Python version and those details, if you want to know, you can go to Python website. It is nothing but python.org. Okay, and you can click on this about and you can go through all the latest update here. Even if you can see here in the latest news, they're talking about the latest Python version that is available is 3.10 is the latest version. Okay, now let's go back to that our part. Okay, next is what are the features that Python is providing. It is very simple and easy to learn. Python is a simple language with few keywords, a simple structure, and its syntax is also clearly defined. This makes Python a beginner's language. The next feature is interpreted and interactive. Python is processed at runtime by the interpreter. We need not to compile the program before executing it. The Python prompt interact with the interpreter to interpret the programs that you have written. Python has an option, namely interactive mode, which allows interactive testing and debugging of code. If you are familiar with other languages like C, C++, and Java, so for all those languages, first we have to compile the code as if step one, and in step two, we can run the program. So in order to run the program in those languages, first you have to compile them. So in Python, this is almost similar to the Unix shell scripting. So you don't need to compile the program, you just have to run it. That's it. As it is the interpret language, so we don't need to compile it. Okay. And the next feature is object oriented language. So Python supports object oriented programming concepts. So in short, we say OOPS, right? And that encapsulates code within objects. All concepts in OOPS like data hiding, operator overloading, inheritance, etc. can be well written in Python. It supports functional as well as structured programming. The next feature is portable. Python can run on a wide variety of hardware and software platforms and has the same interface on all platforms. All variants of Windows, Unix, Linux, and Macintosh are, to name a few. And the next feature is scalable. Python provides a better structure and support for large programs than shell scripting. It can be used as scripting language or can be compiled to bytecode for building large applications. So another feature of the Python is extendable. You can add low-level modules to the Python interpreter. These modules enable programmers to add to or customize their tools to be more efficient. It can be easily integrated with C, C++, and other languages such as even Java also. And Python provides very high level dynamic data types and supports dynamic type checking. It also supports automatic garbage collection like Java programming language. Python supports GUI applications that can be created and ported to many libraries and Windows systems, such as Windows Microsoft Foundation classes, in short we call MFC, Macintosh, and the X Windows system of Unix. Python also provides interfaces to all major commercial databases. Python's library is portable and cross-platform compatible on Unix, Linux, Windows, and Macintosh. This helps in support and development of a wide range of applications from simple text processing to browsers and complex games. So how to run Python? How to run our Python programs? Okay, actually there are three ways. So they are like you can do it using interactive interpreter, or you can run a script from command line, or you can utilize any IDE, nothing but integrated development environment editor. So I will show you all three. Let me open my IDE. So here in my machine I installed PyCharm IDE. If you want, even you can install the PyCharm. So it comes by default, it installs the Python in your machine. Then there are two versions, professional and a community version is there, and professional is somewhat costly, like free trial is there. And if it is only for personal usage and if you are learning the Python, it's good to go with the community version. So I installed a community edition. Okay, so I opened this PyCharm, and if you want to download it, you can download it from this URL. So this is the PyCharm that I was talking about, and I can type anything here, and I can call it as a program. So I can write 10 lines of code and call it as a program. So by default, it is getting created in main.py. So all Python programs are suffixed with py. That file format name is py. So let's say like if I want to print just hello, I can do this like this, and I can run it. I see it's printing just hello there. And this is the terminal. Okay, this is the Python terminal. So this is the first way, using interactive interpreter. So this is the way you can run all the things here directly, like same Python hello, you can run here. See, it executed and it showed here clearly hello string. So this is one way, and second way is script from command line. So this is nothing but you can develop this script like by writing like 100 lines of the code in one file, and you can save that file with the .py extension, and you can call that through this command line. So further you have to write like Python space that program name, nothing but here I have my program name is this. Just click on enter, and this will execute your Python program. And this is the second way. And third way is obviously while developing a Python, so commonly we use IDEs, right? So currently I'm using PyCharm. So this is IDE. So I'm running this my print statement directly here. That means I'm running the Python program here. So this is the third way I was talking about. Okay, let's move on to the fundamental concepts. So we have literals there uh, in Python, and broadly literals are divided into two types: numeric literals and string literal. So a literal is a sequence of one or more characters that stands for itself. Now let's talk about the numeric literals first. Okay, these are all the different types of the numeric literals that we can define in Python, and how can we define them, and what are the correct values and incorrect values that we define here. These first, whatever we mentioned here, these are the valid literals, and these are the invalid ones. So because we have comma here, okay, a numeric literal is a literal containing only the digits 0 to 9 along with an optional sign character, either plus or minus, and a possible decimal point. That's it. So in numeric literal, so these are the three rules. Either you have to have 0 to 9 or plus or minus or decimal point. That's it. And sometimes you can use the letter E is also used in exponential notation. Okay. And if a numeric literal contains a decimal point, then it denotes floating point value, or generally we call in short float. Otherwise, it denotes an integer value. Commas are never used in numeric literals, as I said before. Okay, here we don't have any decimals, right? So these are called integers, and we have decimals here dot. That's why these are all called float values. So this is positive float value and this is negative float value. So as I said, we have next type, literal type is string literals. And I think you already know, right? Numeric values are not only the literal values in programming. So we have string literals. In short, we call as strings. So nothing but they represent sequence of characters. So like hello and Python, course, comma, Python. So this entire word is a string here now. In Python, string literals may be defined, may be delimited by a matching pair of either single or double quotes. Strings must be contained all on one line, except when they are delimited by triple quotes. And if you want to print the literal, let me show you there. I think I already shown you earlier. So like this, hello Python can display like this. So now we printed one literal, or you can go with single quotes also, not only double quotes, like this. See, so it accepts both either double quotes or single quotes, but that should be consistent. You have to give either double quote or single quote, but not combining both, like single quote here and double quote here. This doesn't work. Okay. And let me show you, and even we can combine that. Sometimes you might need single quotes inside the literal itself, in the string literal itself. Let's let me show you an example. Suppose, let's say I have to say let's go. Okay, so I need single quote here, let's go, like this. A second, then in that case we can define this like, come on, or let me define like this. can define like this, or okay, this is not supported, so we cannot keep single quotes inside single quotes, so we have to go with single quotes inside the double quotes. Okay. So we have other fundamental concepts like identifiers. So a Python identifier is a name used to identify a variable, function, class, module, or any other object. And Python is a case sensitive, and hence uppercase and lowercase letters are considered distinct. And we have to follow few rules to name the identifier in Python. The first rule is identifiers can be a combination of letters in lowercase or uppercase or digits or an underscore. For example, total and total. These two are different identifiers. If you see, this starts with uppercase T and this is started with lowercase t. So as Python is case sensitive, these two are different. So we should know this before defining any variable with this name. And the second rule is reserved keywords. So we cannot use reserved keyword in identifier. Like you cannot name, let's say like we have a reserved keyword if, okay, so you cannot name a function with this name, just if you want you can keep some other names like this, okay, but not only if word. And identifiers cannot begin with a digit. For example, to value or for total, like this. So it's not start with integers. If you want you can keep value 2 like this, okay. And the fourth rule is special symbols like at the rate, okay, exclamatory mark, and hash, dollar, percentile, etc. cannot be used in an identifier. Like total at the rate is an invalid identifier name. And the fifth rule is identifier can be of any length. So let's talk about the valid identifier names like total, marks, student, okay, count of days, like this. These are the some valid naming conventions for Python identifiers. And we have class names that starts with uppercase letters, and all other identifiers starts with the lowercase letter. So let's say like if you are going to define one class person, so that should start with uppercase letter. So we will discuss about the class in coming chapters. And starting with an identifier with a single leading underscore indicates that the identifier is private. Let's say like underscore sum. That means this is a private identifier. And if you have double underscore, that means it's a strongly private identifier. And you can see few strongly private identifiers here suggested by IDE. And if the identifier also ends with a two trailing underscore, the identifier is a language defined special name, like, okay, like this. And let's talk about the reserved keywords. There are other keywords reserved by the programming language and prevent the user or the programmer from using it as an identifier in a program. Right now, there are 33 keywords in Python, and this is as of Python 3.3 version. Maybe in coming versions, right now the latest version is 3.10, right? So they might have added few keywords as reserved, or they might have deleted few. Okay, so for that you have to check the documentation, or I will show you how to import keyword module and check the latest keywords. And this number may vary with different versions, as I said. And let me show you how to retrieve the latest keywords. So you have to import keyword module and then print keyword dot kw list. So this will list all my keywords. See this. If you see here, it's printed as a dictionary. So this I will discuss in coming chapters. Let me copy paste this in editor. Okay, these are all reserved keywords, so we cannot use them directly in the identifier names. If you observe, false, none and true started with uppercase letters, and rest are all keywords started with lowercase, and everything is lowercase actually. Okay, so you should remember the true, false and none. Mostly we use true or false, right, as a boolean operators. So there we should remember that it should start with uppercase letter. So this is what I have captured here in the same table, same thing actually. Okay, that's all about the chapter 1. In chapter 1 we discussed features of the Python and how to run the Python, and at the same time literals, identifiers and reserved keywords we have discussed. And in coming chapter we are going to discuss what are the variables and how to comment in Python programming language. And at the same time the most important topic is indentation. So this is the basic thing in Python, so you should know it before programming, before doing programming in Python. And then multi-line statements and then operators. We're going to discuss these 4 topics in next chapter. Thank you.